They have a fancy schmancy classroom that we were all jealous of in the run through, but let's see how this goes.
All right. Hello, everyone. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay. And can you see our screen?
We can hear you great. We can see the screen great.
All right. Thank you so much. Hold on one second. Oh, it won't go down more. Okay. Hello, I'm Jonathan Wilson. I'm the online and distance librarian here at Shared Library. I work with research and instruction specialists, and with me we have Jeri Paddock.
Hi, I'm Jeri Paddock. I am the manager of the Ask Us Desk Services. I started when it was just called the Circulation Desk, but now we've rebranded ourselves. We're the Ask Us Desk Services. First desk inside the front doors, so you never know what you're going to get.
I'd like to thank you all for being here today. I know it's the end of the session, and thank you for bearing with us and hanging in there. We're going to go ahead and get started. So welcome and thank you for coming to our session. We are so grateful to be able to share our experience about the program we implemented and during the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, we will be discussing how we developed and funded the lending technology and personal librarian program at East Tennessee State University. Okay. Hold on, we're having some clicker issues. Let me just,
yeah.
Okay, so I'd just like to tell everyone a little bit of background information about East Tennessee State University. It is nestled in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Johnson City, Tennessee, which is at the very tip top of Northeast Tennessee, bordering Virginia, North Carolina. A fun fact, Kenny Chesney, a very local or a popular country musician, he actually graduated from ETSU with a degree in advertising. We are nestled in the mountains with about 656,000 acres of national forest in our area. Johnson City has the population of around 67,000. ETSU's population is around 15,000 students, and that includes our undergraduate and our graduate students. Some of our most popular programs here are bluegrass, nursing, pharmacy, physical therapy, education, allied health, and criminal justice. As we all remember, back to last March, when we moved online due to COVID-19, our university moved 100% online. We learned really fast that reliable internet service and adequate devices for students to participate quickly surfaced. So we thought, what can we do to help these students? Information technology services, Shared Library, and Student Life and Enrollment teamed up and scurried to lend a small supply of available laptops. We prepared around 55 laptops, and we promptly fielded requests so students could complete the semester. The team then brainstormed on what we could do to help prevent this from happening in the fall. We were unsure at that time if fall semester would be online, but we assumed so. We then applied for the Institute of Museum and Library Services CARES Act grant. We wrote the grant requesting 200 laptops and 200 hotspots to provide assistance and the personal librarian. The outcome goal was to provide these students with technology and a liaison to the university support services. The grant team was the Shared Library and the Medical Library that is located on our Veterans Affairs grounds across the street from our main campus. Also involved was Information Technology Services and Student Life and Enrollment. So now we have our timeline here from August to October of 2020. Unfortunately, we found out that the grant was not funded. They were only able to fund, I think, around 68 of the 1,701 applications. Thankfully, the university then decided to fund this project with CARES Act's monies that they received. We were able then to order 196 laptops from these funds, So the grant team quickly shifted into the implementation team. Listed here is our implementation team. We have our Dean of the Shared Library, David Atkins. Celia is a Director of Library Technology. She's since then retired. Dr. Michelle Bird, the Dean of Students. Dr. Bonnie Bachette, Director of Housing and Residence Life. Adam Griever, our Help Desk Manager. Jeri Paddock, our ASCA Service Manager, and myself. So here on this slide, we have a timeline and cost of equipment. So in July of 2020, ITS funded 200 hotspots at a little over $85,000 per year. And this is an annual cost on these hotspots is $85,000 a year, but we have to pay every year. They also purchased 25 Dell laptops, and that was a little over $17,000. And in August, they purchased 66 more laptops at $54,000. And in November, we purchased an additional 130 laptops with the protective cases. So right now, year to date, we have a little over $287,000 invested in this, but this does not include faculty and staff and all the hours that we've put into this.
In the beginning, when COVID first hit, we were scrambling to provide 50 computers to students, 50 computers in the hotspots, trying to get them something so they could finish out that semester, that spring semester. Then, as you saw previously, our inventory grew, and then students didn't know what was going on. They didn't know. We needed to get the word out. We started with our Dean of Students, who she has a spider web of contacts. We use the academic advisors and her web page. We felt like we really needed to give a big push. We needed to be good stewards of the university money. We did some self-promoting inside and outside of our main library, Sherrod, as well as with the medical library, which is on the other side of campus. We did an article for the student newspaper. We posted signs. We were really working hard. We reached out then to individual departments. You tell the executive aide, they have their finger on the pulse of what the students need. So we let the executive aides know we had technology to lend. We reached out to our satellite campuses, to the advisors and tutors, student life and enrollment. We wanted to get the word out. Students begin this whole process by borrow. They start with the Dean of Students webpage with 3 simple questions. What semester do you need the device? Do you need a laptop, a hotspot, or both? And tell us about your need. On that webpage, we also have a statement or an agreement that the student will return the device and all the parts in good working order, and they agree to be billed for the replacement cost. The Dean of Students, once she approves the lend, she routes that request to the ITS office and to my desk at ASCA Services. I prep the device, assign it to a student library account, and then send the email to the students with details on how to pick it up. If the student lives 30 miles or more from campus, we have used the USPS to mail items in the priority packaging mailing. The cost to mail a hotspot is about $6 to $8, and laptops mail for $10 to $12. The important part of using priority mail is that it gave us the tracking that's so important with this costly material. We haven't lost one yet. Woohoo! The importance of the email that I send, that connects the student with Jonathan, their new personal librarian. We have an informational brochure and some swag to tuck into the bags as well. Jonathan then, in turns, responds to a welcome email to the students, and the connection is made. Our ITS department, I can't say enough great things. They have been terrific to work with. All of the new machines arrived and they were imaged and bugs were worked out, ready to have in the hands of the students within 7 to 10 days, as well as doing all their other work. So that was really a great show of support. The student users have a local account which allow them to download course-specific software. We quickly found out that students need lockdown browsers. It's a highly requested item. They have to use it. They have to know how to navigate around in it. It's required for the students to take their tests online. The laptops were purchased with a warranty, which includes accidental damage. And to date, we've only had 10 laptops that need the damage repair. Again, we really feel fortunate.
Thank you, Jeri. So then the students are contacted weekly by myself, the personal librarian, by email. My goal was to provide a variety of services for these students and act as a liaison to the ETSU resources so they could successfully succeed in academia. In the emails, I would update them on Library 101 workshops that we offered via Zoom, and also offered to meet on them one-on-one on Zoom, or just to talk with them or to help with research needs, such as finding peer-reviewed articles or citation help, and etc. I also helped with troubleshooting the equipment or would refer them to ITS if the issues were out of my understanding. I was actually able this past spring and last fall to help students on their capstones and thesis projects, which was really fun. Also, I developed ways to assess and evaluate the student needs and the effectiveness as the program as a whole.
We wanted to give you an idea of the checkouts by semester. Through all of our publications and trying to get the word out for fall 2020, we had 138 students use the devices. In spring, it jumped up to 185. We are 1 month into our summer session, and we've connected with 74 students so far. So this program is growing and it's well received. As you could imagine, the students' reasons and needs varied as much as the students themselves. And some of our students, we learned, had been sitting in their cars outside of restaurants at midnight, using the free Wi-Fi, using their smartphones to complete an academic assignment. A few students had the laptop all set, ready to go, and then just weeks into the semester, their laptop would break. They had no job, no work, no way to pay to fix their laptop. What a great idea for the library to have a laptop ready to give them. We saved the day. We found ourselves supporting the traveling athletic teams for the university. Didn't even think about that when we began. As we said, we have a medical college over on the other side of campus. We ended up supporting our rural medical students. They're doing clinical rotations in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, so they can use these hotspots in areas where there is no other internet access. They continue their coursework just as if they were sitting at home. We also learned family emergencies, another area where we were able to help out. But then at the bottom of the list, you see it, the big Q, quarantine. This is where our curbside service picked up and worked great. We'd let the student know by email, the device was ready. Student would come to the side of the building, give us a phone call, tell us what car they're in. They'd pop their trunk. We took the device out, put it in their trunk, closed the trunk, and we walked away. They drove away. The exchange was made completely contactless. Some of the students were quarantined in their dorms. Those folks, we developed a relationship with our public safety, campus security folks. They were working with us to get the deliveries to those students.
So in part of our assessment, we discovered many different values. One of those was the population of students that we served by major. So for fall, nursing students was our largest major check out equipment, with the sciences coming in a close second. We later discovered that the reason that the nursing student population heavily used our program was because the department had them purchase Chromebooks that was not compatible with the programs that they needed to run within the nursing program. Here on this slide, we have the student population by major for this past spring that checked out equipment. Sciences had the most at around 46 checkouts, but nursing came in a close second at 44. We noticed that the word was spreading and students were becoming more aware of the program. Here we have an overall checkouts for both semesters by the months. As you can see, August and January was our biggest months due to it being beginning of the semester. The students were becoming prepared, picking up the equipment, going back home and getting ready for the semester. As you all know, it all comes down to assessment. Assessment, assessment, assessment. So here we have some results from a survey that we created to get an idea on how the program was working. So we asked, did having the equipment help you complete your courses? Out of the 29 responses, 27 said very much so. We had one say somewhat, one said not so much. Then we asked, did having a personal librarian make you feel more comfortable in asking for help? Out of the 29 responses, 18 said very much, and we had 10 say somewhat. Then we asked, how did having the equipment help check all that apply? So we had 22 respond, better internet access, faster, more stable. 21 responded, they saved money. 22 responded, they saved time.
Just like Jonathan said, assessment. Did what we were doing make a difference to anyone? The bottom line, in the words of our student users, we wanted to know, yes. Here's just a few of the responses. It saved time and money. It saved me from going to the department computer lab. Research was easy with a librarian on standby to help. Jonathan was remotely on speed dial, speed email for many of these students. They were more relaxed, more successful to complete their assignments in the middle of a pandemic. I got to be the lucky one. I was on the front lines, handing the devices out to the students, getting to see that stress just drop off their faces when they picked up their laptop or the hotspot. To see the sparkle in their eyes, it made all of our teamwork so worth it. We worked as a team. We accomplished so much, even during a pandemic. It was worth it and continues to be.
So now we were moving towards the fall semester, and we were rethinking on how we can still make this program effective. With classes moving back on ground this fall, we would like to target existing and potential students with financial needs. We also are trying to develop a personal librarian program just for transfer and first-generation college students without the lending technology part. We're pursuing means to promote the program to help with student success, retention, and enrollment. We're also reviewing and planning for sustainability with the program, especially with the annual hotspot costs at $85,000 and the future laptop replacement, as Jeri mentioned, which are under a 4-year warranty. Well, that concludes our presentation, and I want to thank you all. Do we have any questions or discussions that we'd like to talk about?
Let's see. Can you guys hear me? I'm having a bit of
Yes.
trouble. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. I have a lot of questions, but I'm waiting to see if other people put them in the Q&A. You were so efficient with your time that I don't know that I don't know that people had time to type. my first question is, it sounds like you're looking to make this into a more permanent program?
Go ahead.
Yes, we're moving forward. Like I said, we've got what, 40 some, almost 50 devices out now. And this is just the first month, first 4 or 5 weeks of summer term. I expect it will pick up. And folks are already asking about fall. So yes, we're going to make it. And we check these items out for a semester at a time. Previously, we had 25 laptops that were building use only. And those would come and go on a 4-hour basis. So that initial first 50, we took that 25 and then 25 from other labs across campus. That's how we pulled together our first 50. We have found that the students use the equipment much longer it's checked out longer if we offer that full semester.
Okay, let's see. Michelle has a question. Was Jonathan the only personal librarian? And what kind of commitment did that require? Well, there's several questions here, so I can repeat them. And what would you do differently going forward? So I guess, how many personal librarians were there and what kind of a commitment did it require?
Okay. I was the only personal librarian, yes. And it was a lot of commitment. My office phone would come directly to my cell phone. I had people calling and, 8 o'clock at night. It was, had to really commit, lots of emails, just having user error. My hotspot won't turn on, my laptop won't turn on. And did help with quite a few students with research as well. As we move forward, we do have another librarian that is going to help out with that, especially as we open up to transfer and first generation students. That's around 2,500 students. So we'll have a graduate assistant and another librarian help out with that, so we can send emails and such things. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah,
Yes.
as far as what would we do different, we would spread the work out more. Now we know, now we know what it is. And so we're making plans. We're in the mode to spread it out a little more. I did in the Ask Us, I roped in our nighttime weekend supervisor. And I said, hey, you've got to help out on this because, students, sometimes they don't think about needing an item until 3 o'clock in the afternoon and they need it by 9 o'clock that night. Well, my day is 7 to 3. So I got our nighttime guy in on it. He was real excited to help and stuff. I work with a great team. Really, everybody that's worked on this project has been so helpful to say, yeah, we can do this, or can't do it that way. Have you thought about this? So it's been super. The year and several months, we did it.
The next question is, have you done a survey of incoming or existing students to determine who has access to high-speed internet at home?
We have not. That's a great question. Thank you.
That's under lock and key here at the university. And we'd really, really, really like to get into that vault. We're trying.
Yes, we did do some surveys. We looked at some data that there are rural counties that did have internet access, and we had Unicoi, Carter, and Hawkins County does not have access to internet that much. So we tried to target those students that lived in those counties, but it's really, really hard. But we did try. I think going forward, we're really going to try to reach those financial needs students. That's our plan for fall, those that can't afford it.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know in another session with some City University of New York professors, they had something like half of their students didn't have regular internet access at home. So I'm thinking, oh, where you are, it probably is even higher because they just physically can't get it. So yeah, it's tough. Did you have, how is the demand versus the supply? Did you have more people asking for the hotspots and the laptops than you had available?
we thought that the hotspots would be in more demand than the laptops, but actually it was the opposite,
Went the other way.
which kind of mind boggles me.
Yeah.
With the internet access in this area. So that's something to think about as we move forward too. We may actually kind of get fewer hotspots next year.
Yeah, there has been talk about, chopping that number, which will chop the cost. Right now it's running about 2/3 laptops, 1/3 hotspots, but I think it's going to pick up. I just have I think we're going to run 50-50.
Okay. Another question, were there needs for hotspots for library faculty as well, or school, college faculty?
Well, I cannot divulge that information at this time. These hotspots were paid for by student technology access fee. And so they had to go to the students. Sometimes I did get drift of a faculty who was needing some help short-term, just short-term. And if they came by the workroom and there was a hotspot and they picked it up on Thursday and it came back on Tuesday, I said, oh, look, there's a hotspot. I need to process that and get it put back away. So if you weren't a student, you were not supposed to have this device, the laptop or the hotspot. I'm a bit of a rogue. I'm old, so sometimes I'm a rogue. But anyway, it was to the point we had to do what we had to do, what we could do. So there you have it.
So it sounds like there's definitely a need, should you be able to provide it.
Right.
Yeah. You said that you only had 10 that were pieces of equipment that were damaged. Was any equipment lost?
Well,
people fear.
Not the full unit. They came back in dribs and drabs. One group that all lived in an apartment together, we got a couple of bags, 2 laptops, should have been 4 laptops, 2 hotspots, should have been 3 hotspots, and and the cords and stuff. But we have worked out a method. We've priced out each piece. Now, if the student will rummage around, the first week in May was really busy for me because everything that came in while the student was standing there with us, we went through, we matched the item numbers, made sure everything matched. If they did, they're good to go. If not, one of our staff immediately said, hey, you're missing the cord, the power brick or the cord or something for this. And then I would follow it up. If it was evening, I'd follow it up the next morning with an email to that student and said, hey, you got it. And they would reply and they'd bring it in. So it's been a catch. I think I have 4 devices that are waiting. So out of the 185, 4, I'll take those odds.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's see. I think those are all the questions that are in the Q&A right now. If anyone has any more for Jonathan and Jeri, you can put them in the question and answer. I'm looking at the numbers, and yeah, it's a lot for the hotspot, but compared to the college budget and compared to what I pay as tuition for a student, I'm like, this seems like something that just should be part of. I feel like, oh, this should be part of every college campus. It seems, given the feedback and the testimonials that you told us about. So hopefully, if you need me, hopefully your administration agrees with me.
Yes, they do. They have been super, super supportive. We have made our presentation at 2 of the high level faculty meetings that meet here on campus, and they all were really excited. And it was great to see the deans of departments go, wow, that was a great idea. So that was fun. That's the fun part. And then there's some others that they already knew about it and they had been funneling students to us. So that was great too.
Okay, great. Let's see, Rebecca is putting in the links for the CE and the CTLE certificates in the chat. Well, while she's doing that and while and the evaluation, and while you're filling out those forms, I'll wait here for a few more minutes in case any last minute questions come in. I see that Michelle has said that you really stepped it up for your students, and thank you for the presentation. So yes, indeed.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
coming and watching the presentation. I do want to emphasize this was a campus-wide effort. Without all these departments that helped, this would have never happened. And I can't take all the credit for it.
No,
This
not
was
at all.
a huge group effort, and it was such a pleasure working with this group and the grant team.
Yeah, it was great. In my role, I don't usually get to reach out across campus and connect with and work positively with so many other departments. So this was really, it was fun for me.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. I don't see any more questions. So I want to thank everyone for joining us at Pillars and for joining us on Friday. Let's see. I see that Christy, my colleague Christy, has said, oh, thank you for everyone for attending the first Pillars Symposium. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. I know I learned a lot new today. So